Protectors of the Grid. Chapter 9. They sat under the thatch, Simeona especially feeling the sun's climb in the sky, as droplets of sweat trickled off her brow and collected in the crevice of her abundant breasts. They had pretty much caught up on each other's lives. Ben hadn't seen his own mom, Tara's aunt, in a couple of years, as she'd been gallivanting around the world with a bunch of old hippie friends. He'd get an email every once in a while, or he'd see her making faces at the camera in a Facebook photo, so he didn't worry too much. He was actually kind of glad that she was far enough away not to worry about him. Ben's thoughts were interrupted by the sound of his name. When he looked up, they were all watching him, waiting. Sorry, I was thinking about Mom. Say again? Are you ready? Uncle Cale asked again. Ben was just about to ask for what when he realized he knew. This was where and how he could learn. Whatever he needed to know to work the grid. I'm ready. Good. Then we'll go right after lunch. Uncle Cale leaned back in his chair. Where? To the Heiau. To the... Tara interrupted. To the jungle, Ben. We're going into the jungle to a power place. A place where people have communed with the divine for eons. We'll camp there overnight. Camp? It's safe. There aren't any snakes or predators on this island, unless you count humans. And even if there were, we would be safe. Ben nodded. He felt safe, as though there were spirits around guarding them all. An image flashed through his mind of large, rugged warriors with grass skirts and intimidating spears standing watch around them. He laughed. What an imagination. He shook his head. It was imagination, wasn't it? Simeona wriggled to the edge of her chair, took hold of the sturdy armrests, and lifted herself out. Tara, come help me finish getting lunch. Then we can get into the jungle shade before it's too hot. As soon as they were out of earshot, Ben's questions started pouring out. Uncle Cale, I don't understand much of anything that is going on. I know, Ben. Don't try so hard. It's not so much about understanding as remembering. The energy of each island, did you know that each one has a different energy, is for a specific form of spiritual work. Some people think the 7 islands represent the 7 chakras of the planet. Yeah, each island's energy, topography, and location makes the spiritual power different on each one. Ben considered for a couple of beats. I can vaguely feel some difference between Oahu and Molokai, the only 2 islands I've set foot on, but I do feel a strong sense of harmony. Kayla nodded. One thing they all have in common is that they vibrate at a 5th-dimensional frequency. That means the spirit world is especially present and palpable here. There are other similar places like Peru, Tibet, Bali, Sedona. In these places, it's easier to feel other dimensions and the beings that live there. Some people consider them portals. Ben nodded too. It feels like the islands themselves are alive. He looked up hesitantly, shy to express his thought, not sure if his words truly caught what he was feeling. It feels like this island, Molokai, wants to help me. He waited awkwardly for his uncle's reaction. Cal smiled and leaned forward. Yes, it's like the island is a being willing to guide and mentor you. And he laid his hand on Ben's knee. It doesn't care where you are, whether you're just starting or have been on a path most of your life. It will meet you where you are. Then, it will take you as fast as you are able, maybe faster than you like, to where you want to go. Everything is amped up and speeded up here, whether inside time or out of it. The sun was still high when they reached the edge of Mo'aula Falls, a couple of miles up the trail. Simeona led with a surprisingly energetic pace that still gave Ben time to look around. He had to be careful not to step on Tara's heels, though, as she sometimes stopped dead in her tracks to gaze up at a particularly brilliant orchid or lush fern. She looked vibrant and eager. Ben felt it too, a sense that as much as they were admiring the jungle was aware of them, watching and waiting. He chuckled to himself and shouted out the thought. You are so beautiful, I love being inside you. He almost stumbled when he heard inside him, We have been waiting, and you are welcome. When he stumbled, he almost knocked Tara into the water, but Cale grabbed her arm and steadied her. Then they all stood, gazing up at the 2-tiered waterfall that ended in a broad pool. At least they could see only 2 tiers from the level of the pool. This fall is taller than you think, Simeona commented. One day I flew over in a little plane going to Big Island. We circled around and saw maybe half-dozen more places sacred waters hit on the way down the mountain. Are we stopping here, Simeona? Tara asked. Simeona stepped over to a nearby ti tree and plucked a leaf, which she then tossed into the pool. Everyone leaned forward to watch as the ti leaf circled around in the current, then disappeared from view. Grunted Simeona. Mo not in a good mood today. We will continue on to the heiau without entering the waters. Just sprinkle some water around you to honor it and the sacred pool. It will cleanse your field. Ben did as everyone else, sprinkling a small shower of water down his front and another down his back. It felt refreshing after the exertion of hiking. He felt sheepish when he saw Uncle Cale watching him and walking toward him. Uncle, what was that all about? I'm so lost. You mean the Mo? The Mu are mythical shapeshifters, apparently mostly female. They are fierce guardians of fresh water. Some people have seen them as water dragons, giant lizards, like 30 feet long. At other times, they are seen as a beautiful woman or seductive maiden. Friend or foe? Can be either, Cal replied. It pays to keep them happy because they have strong magical powers. King Kamehameha honored a Mo who he said helped him win the Battle of Nuuanu after he built it a heiau altar in Waikiki. It wanted a heiau? An altar? Ben exclaimed. Cale nodded and grinned wryly, then continued. There is another legend that goes along with the myths too. In one of the most famous, Pele, the volcano goddess, sends her youngest sister Hiaka to rescue a mortal lover. 3 of these supernatural lizards have captured Pele's sweetheart and hold him hostage in a cave on Kauai. Hiaka's mission involves a second errand, dragon slaying. Hiaka encounters many mo'o as she travels island to island. Here on Molokai, the young goddess and her attendant Wahineoma'o come to an impassable ravine. As they try to figure out how to get across, a slender plank appears. Wahineoma'o starts across, but Hiaka recognizes the bewitched bridge for what it is, the tongue of the man-eating mo'o Kikipua. Spanning the gorge with her magical pa'u, a kind of skirt, Hiaka chases the lizard to its lair and kills it. So what's with the leaf? If the tea leaf sinks, the mo is in a bad mood and it is best not to enter the waters of its home. If the tea leaf floats, you get to go in for a swim and let the waters do their healing work on you. Ben shuddered. There was an historian in the 19th century, Samuel Kamakau, who wrote that when fires were lit on altars near their homes, the mo'o would appear, black as night, glistening in the water. Dragons and lizards and gods, oh my! Ben chanted under his breath, rather relieved that the tea leaf had sunk. At any rate, Kala continued, we're going a short distance further to a heiau that is exceptionally powerful and alive. It's by a smaller creek, a tributary of this waterfall, that runs through stone guardians to the foot of a grandmother banyan tree. Come on, you'll want to see it while there's still light. Simeona and Tara were disappearing up the trail, so Kal and Ben turned to follow after them. The forest seemed particularly dense in this section. First, it was eerily quiet. Then it seemed to come alive with birdsong and sounds as though the forest was conversing with itself. The sweetly scented air felt intoxicating. Ben walked more slowly, aware that he was somehow altered. Though all his senses were amplified, sort of on high alert, he felt a deep calm, as though the sights and sounds and smells were a part of him. Just as he considered an urge to lie down under a particularly verdant plumeria, he saw, or felt, a wave of light drawing him on, beckoning. Just around a slight bend, the trail opened into a clearing. Shafts of light reflected off the craggy contours of stones, tall enough that Ben had to tilt his head back to see their faces, stone guardians on either side of their path. The creek that Cale mentioned curved back toward the trail to run beside it between the guardians. As he stepped between the stones, Ben felt waves of tingles flow up and down his spine. Everyone was quiet now, aware of the forest and everything in it, watching. Another minute or two of walking, and they came to a shallow pool. In spite of being only knee-deep, the pool seemed to glow from within, even though daylight was quickly fading. Simeona stood at the edge and whispered a prayer, then turned to the others. Tonight we build a fire and make big magic.